Welcome to the wilderness. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Aaron's Mailbag. Today, you are joining us in lovely, beautiful wilderness, just outside of Paran. Oy vey, insects. So I'm going to reach, let's get it started, reaching into my old mailbag. Let's see who our first letter is. Our first letter is from, this letter comes from Tracy and Jeanette from Poughkeepsie, Mississippi. Where in the heck is Mississippi? That must be over the Jordan or something. Over the Jordan. Okay, the question is, were you jealous of your brother Moses? Oh, well, you see, I am the first son of Amram. So I think at one point this kind of is my right. You know, in our culture, the firstborn gets everything. But, you know, it's happened from time to time. If you go back, you look at Jacob, you know, he technically was not the firstborn. But he got the inheritance anyways. We won't worry about that though. You know, it happened with Abraham too, but you know, she was kind of illegitimate. He was illegitimate, so we won't count that funny. But so yeah, I was a little irritated, but at the same time, my brother, he was humble. You know, he didn't like to talk, and you know, and at the same time, I was the one who had the stick. Threw it down, turned into a snake, voila. It was my stick. That wasn't his stick, that was my stick. And I was the one who waved my staff over the river and it turned into blood. So I got to do that. And I guess, you know, so what, I don't lead the people of Israel. They're kind of rude people anyways. So let's see. And so I did the miracles, and you know, everybody has different roles. So thank you for that letter, Tracy and Jeanette. I don't think that's a Hebrew name. First commercial break. You know, we have to pay the bills somehow. Welcome back to Aaron's Mailbag. Let's see who our second letter is from. Our second letter is from Jeanette in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay, let's see. How did you feel when Moses was on the mountain? He was up there for a very long time, and us Jews were not very patient. Sometimes, you know, we'd already been in the desert for quite a while, but so he'd been up in that mountain for a while, and I want to tell you something. Hungry and homeless, this is a recipe for conflict. Oy vey. Oh, so I was a very, very, very anxious. I was a little nervous because I have, 600,000 men? 600,000 men, and they're all riled up, and they want something to worship. People like to worship things, and I gave them something to worship. So I was a little bit anxious, and however, you know, I had to remember that, you know, God had brought us through the Red Sea, and you know, see, you see something like that, you just don't forget it. When you see the sea split, sea split, you remember that, and then it helps you through your day, you know. Let's go on to our next letter. Our next letter comes from Blair and Tracy in Tushaminga, Oklahoma. Did the calf build itself? And why did I do it? This is kind of like a compound question. I know that we use some figurative language, and the calf popped out of the fire, and it kind of built itself. This was kind of my little way of absolving myself of responsibility. But why did I do it? Why does anybody do anything? Peer pressure. Why did Prince wear purple? You know, it's peer pressure. Nobody dresses like that. So peer pressure was very strong, and the people, they had their habits, they had their behaviors and their beliefs coming out of Egypt, and you know, they needed an identity, and they found it in a golden cow. You know, some people find their identity in cars. They found it in a golden cow. It just happens, you know. What can we say, right? So let's see, our last letter comes from Blair in Paris, Texas. Oh, this is a time I really don't like thinking about this occasion. How did I feel when Eliezer was replacing me, and I was told that I was going to die on a mountain? All right, so there was a very complicated situation, because I had seen God work many times. I had seen him when in Egypt with the 10 plagues. You know the story of the 10 plagues, right? The 10 plagues, it happened. So with the story of the 10 plagues and the sea splitting, and but you know, I kind of had this one coming. I had confronted my brother before. He married a Cushite woman, and I didn't think that was appropriate. And then God called me out on it. He said Moses was his friend, and I needed to shut up or something like this. Gave my sister herpes or leprosy or something like that. Gave her leprosy. That's right, leprosy, not herpes. He gave her leprosy. And so this is one of those things, like when God says something, you have a tendency to just kind of go with it. But I think the hardest part about it was Moses, he took my ephod. My ephod, that's the thing that goes on my chest. It had lots of gold and gems on it. You've probably seen it before. I have more bling than Mr. T. But they took that from me, and I gave up my role. And kind of knowing where you're going to die, you know, it takes kind of some of the suspense and drama out of the whole experience of dying. But, you know, I kind of had it coming. But the Lord, you know, he says things, and after denying him so many times, I kind of expected it. Oh, well, that was a depressing question. I don't like to think about the day I died. So I thank you once again for coming to visit me in Aaron's mailbag. And next time, we will be joining you on the other side of the Jordan River. Oh, wait, no, we won't. I'm not going into the promised land. I screwed up. I forgot. Okay, well, thank you. You guys have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.